Refinishing your hardwood floors can be the best investment you make in your home or the most expensive mistake. I've seen clients save thousands by planning the right way, and I've also seen people spend double what they expected because of one overlooked detail. Let me help you avoid that. Coming up in this video, I'll break down the real numbers behind hardwood flooring refinishing costs, so you know exactly what to expect. I'll also show you the hidden factors that can drive up your price up or down, and finally, whether it makes sense to hire a professional or go the DIY route, and what the decision really means for your wallet and your floors. Think about painting your kitchen cabinets. You expect to pay for the paint, but then you realize you need sanding, new hardware, maybe even fixing dents first. Refinishing floors is the same way. It's not just one flat price. There are layers to it, and if you don't understand them, you can get blindsided by surprise costs. So let's talk about what you really pay. On average, refinishing runs about $5 to $10 per square foot, including all materials and labor. Sanding alone usually costs between $5 and $8 per square foot. Adding stain and finishes is another $1 to $3 per square foot. And then you have extras like shoe molding, vents, and other small details that usually add $1 to $2 per square foot. That means for a 1,000 square foot space, you're looking at $5,000 to $10,000. But I will break down a detailed refinishing estimate for you in just a bit so you can really understand it. But before we can do that, I need to make sure you understand a few important things about refinishing hardwood floors. The cost isn't just about the size of your area. The type of wood you have also matters. Oak is usually the easiest to work with, while exotic woods take more time and effort. The condition of the floor makes a big difference too. Pet urine, water damage, or deep scratches can mean replacing boards, which adds hundreds if not thousands of dollars. Stairs, flush mount vents, and trims also drive up the price. Flush mount vents especially surprise people. They can run $80 to $150 each. And then your finishing choice. Whether you go with a matte or glossy, a water-based or oil-based stain, all change the final cost. And also, whether you DIY or hire a professional, many homeowners think they'll save by renting equipment and doing it themselves. The problem is sanding hardwood floors isn't easy. If you DIY, you'll almost always leave scratch marks or drum marks from the machines. Professionals are trained to be very careful. They use equipment like a Bona power drive or a Trio after the drum sander, which ensures all those marks are removed. It takes hardwood professionals 2 to 4 years to get the sanding process right. So yes, you can save up front by doing it yourself, but you risk ending up with floors that never look right. Or worse, you pay a pro later to redo the whole thing. But how do you know when you should refinish versus replace the hardwood? If your floors are in decent shape, refinishing is almost always a smarter option. The only time I recommend replacement is if the wood has been sanded down too many times already, if it's severely water damaged, or if there are major subfloor issues. Otherwise, refinishing gives you that like new look without the cost of a brand new wood. Now let me touch on some common mistakes I see. The biggest mistake is underestimating the cost and being shocked at the final bill. Another mistake is hiring the cheapest contractor. For example, here in Raleigh, I see this all the time. Homeowners go with the lowest bid, and the result is floors full of sanding marks and drum marks. And the floor just doesn't look right. In the end, they pay twice, once for the bad job, and again to fix it. When refinishing hardwood, you can't just hire any company. Refinishing floors with a flawless smooth finish takes years to master. That's why it's so important to ask the right questions before you hire a company. Ask how many coats of finish they'll put down. I always recommend 3 coats. Ask what sanding machines they use. If they don't mention that they use a Bona power drive or a Trio after the drum sander, that's a red flag. Because using a drum sander always leaves drum marks in the floor. Then ask if they check for hidden damage like water damage boards and pet urine before they start. And of course, always ask to see real before and after photos from past jobs. Over the years, I've had plenty of experiences that show why this really matters. One client went with a low bid contractor, and when I came in later, I could see the drum marks across the entire living room. Another time, the contractor discovered pet urine damage under a rug. That added hundreds of dollars to the final bill. But if the homeowner had known what to look for, they could have budgeted ahead. And this is why my process with clients is always the same. I start with the in-home consultation. I take the measurements and check for any existing issues like damaged floorboards or moisture problems to make sure everything gets addressed while we are in the home. Then, I walk the customer through the sanding and finishing process step by step. Finally, I give them an accurate quote so they know exactly what to expect. That way, there are no surprises later. So now that you understand what the hardwood refinishing process should look like, let's look at a real estimate of a 1,000 square foot house so you know what to expect. Let's look at all the material costs. First, we have the finish and the stain cost, which comes out to $1,210. Then we have the shoe molding, which comes out to $200. The total price for materials comes out to $1,410, which is about $1.40 per square foot for all the materials. Now let's move on to the labor cost. First, we have the sanding, staining, and finishing application, which comes out to $6,250. The shoe molding installation, which is $700. And then we always have to replace a few damaged boards on each job. So we added an extra 5 board replacement, which comes out to $400. The total labor cost comes out to $7,350, which comes out to about $7.35 a square foot for the refinishing. The total price for both materials and labor is $8,760, not including tax. This brings our hardwood refinishing cost to just about $8.75 a square foot. If you're comparing refinishing your floors to just installing brand new hardwood, don't guess. I already broke down the full cost of new hardwood floors in this video right here. Watch this video next so you can compare both options side by side and make the smartest decision for your home.